Hello everyone. Today we're continuing with the book Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It was Halloween night, so Greg and Rowley were going trick-or-treating. However, just as they were about to head out, Mom insisted that they take Manny along. Dad also joined them. Greg and Rowley weren't thrilled about the idea, but when Mom makes up her mind, there's no changing it. After a couple of hours, Dad took Manny home. And now, let's find out what's going to happen to Greg and Rowley as we explore together. I was glad because that meant me and Rowley could take off. My pillowcase was almost empty, so I wanted to make up as much as possible. A little while later, Rowley told me he needed a potty break. I made him hold off for another 45 minutes. But by the time we got to my grandma's house, it was pretty clear that if I didn't let Rowley use the bathroom, it was going to get messy. So I told Rowley if he wasn't back outside in 1 minute, I was going to start helping myself to his candy. After that, we headed back out on the road, but it was already 10:30, and I guess that's when most grown-ups decide Halloween is over. You can kind of tell because that's when they start coming to the door in their pajamas and giving you the evil eye. We decided to head home. We made up a lot of time after Dad and Manny left, so I was pretty satisfied with how much candy we took in. When we were halfway home, this pickup truck came roaring down the street with a bunch of high school kids in it. The kid in the back was holding a fire extinguisher, and when the truck passed by us, he opened fire. I have to give Rowley credit because he blocked about 95% of the water with his shield, and if he hadn't done that, all of our candy would have gotten soaked. When the truck drove away, I yelled out something that I regretted about 2 seconds later. The driver slammed on the brakes, and he turned his truck around. Me and Rowley started running, but those guys were right on our heels. The only place I could think of that was safe was Grandma's house, so we cut through a couple backyards to get there. Grandma was in bed already, but I knew she keeps a key under the mat on her front porch. Once we got inside, I looked out the window to see if those guys had followed us, and sure enough, they did. I tried to trick them into leaving, but they wouldn't budge. So let's go over some key expressions from the book. Take off. So when used informally, take off can mean to leave a place or situation quickly or abruptly. For example, I had to take off from the meeting to attend an urgent matter. So the line from the book says, I was glad because that meant me and Rowley could take off, which indicates that Greg and Rowley were happy because they could leave their current situation, which is having to trick or treat with Manny and Dad. Makeup. So makeup has several meanings, and in this context, it is used to mean to compensate for something that is missing or to replace something that has been lost or damaged. In the story, Greg and Rowley wanted to fill up their pillowcase with the candy they couldn't collect earlier because they were accompanied by Dad and Manny. Hold off. So when used in the sense of delaying or postponing something, hold off means to wait before taking action or making a decision. So in this context, Greg postponed Rowley's request to take a bathroom break. Help oneself to something. This means taking something for yourself without asking or waiting for someone to give it to you. It can refer to taking food, drinks, or other items that are available for consumption. For example, feel free to help yourself to some cake. She helped herself to a glass of water from the pitcher. He helped himself to some snacks from the kitchen without asking. Give someone the evil eye. This means looking at someone in a way that shows you're not happy with them, maybe because they did something you didn't like or they're behaving badly. It's like giving them a mean or angry look. So when Greg and Rowley went trick-or-treating late at night, some adults came to the door looking grumpy or annoyed because it was late at night. Taken. So this refers to gather or receive something. So for example, they managed to take in a lot of donations for the charity. Halfway to a place. This simply means you've gone half of the way to get there. It's like being in the middle of your trip or journey to a specific location. So now Greg and Rowley only have half the way left to get home. Roar down. The phrase roar down typically describes something, like a vehicle or an object, moving rapidly and with a loud or powerful sound. So for example, the motorcycle roared down the highway. The jet roared down the runway during takeoff. In the story, when the pickup truck came roaring down the street, it suggests that the truck was moving fast and making a lot of noise as it approached. Open fire. So this phrase is commonly used to describe the action of discharging firearms such as guns, rifles, or cannons. When someone or something opens fire, it means they begin shooting or firing projectiles. So a kid in the pickup truck began spraying the fire extinguisher, likely as a prank. Give someone credit. So this means to notice and appreciate their actions or achievements. It's a way of showing appreciation or admiration for something someone has done. So from the book, Greg noticed and appreciated Rowley's efforts in protecting their candy. Drive away. This means to leave a place in a vehicle. It implies departing from a specific place or area by driving. In the story, the pickup truck left the area by driving off after the incident. Yell something out. When you yell something out, you shout or speak loudly and often suddenly, so that your words can be heard by others at a distance. People may yell something out to get someone's attention, make an announcement, express excitement, or convey a message when they need to be heard over noise or from a distance. So for example, she yelled out for help when she got stuck. The coach yelled out instructions to the players on the field. Slam on something. So the phrase slam on is often used in the context of driving and refers to the sudden and forceful application of brakes in a vehicle. When someone slams on the brakes, it means they press the brake pedal very hard and abruptly, usually in response to a need to stop quickly or avoid a collision. On one's heels. So this phrase means to be very close behind someone, usually in a chasing manner. So in the book, the high school kids were right behind Greg and Rowley, chasing them. Cut through. To cut through means to take a shorter route by passing through something. So in the story, when Greg and Rowley cut through a couple of backyards to get there, it means they chose to move through some people's backyards directly instead of taking a longer or more conventional route, likely to reach Grandma's house faster. Trick someone into doing something. So when you trick someone into doing something, it's like making them do it by fooling them or making them think it's a good idea. It's about getting someone to do something through deception or clever persuasion. Budge. So this means to move or change position, especially when something is stuck, immobile, or resistant. So for instance, no matter how hard I pushed, the heavy box wouldn't budge. The door was jammed, but with some effort, I managed to make it budge. He tried to persuade her to change her mind, but she wouldn't budge from her decision. So despite Greg's attempts to deceive them, the high school kids wouldn't leave. So that's it for today's video. We'll continue the story in the next video, so stay tuned for the next part of the story. You might recognize several expressions in green letters from earlier episodes, so if you're curious about them, be sure to catch up on the previous Diary of a Wimpy Kid episodes. Take care everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.